Hi guys, welcome in. Hi Bradley, how are you doing today? All right, guys, we are doing the neon writing again, neon rim writing again. So let's go, Bradley here. First is your name, Bradley. All right, next name we've got Jermaris. How are you, dear Jermaris? Thank you so much. Love seeing you here. All right, who do we have next, guys? Get your glowing names done. Milo in the chat. How are you, dear Milo? You got your glowing name done. All right, everybody, hit that like button, subscribe, and get your glowing names done. Kimora in the chat. How are you, dear Kimora? Here you go. All right, who do we have next, guys? Everybody start liking, guys. Tap on this board thrice, guys. Thrice, if you tap on it, it's going to be counted as a like. So everybody, let's go, guys. Welcome to my live. Please get your names done, guys. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Lil Bob. Thank you so much. Who do we have next, everybody? Get your glowing names done, guys. Let me just clean up the camera a bit. All right. We're going to start off, everybody. We are neon names. Neon names, guys, for everybody. Let's go. Drop your names, guys, in the comments. Welcome to my live, guys. Everybody get your names done, guys. Hit that subscribe button, like the live, and let's begin, guys. All right. Who's going to be next, everybody? Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Drop your names, guys. Get your glowing names done. Hi, how are you, Kimura? I'm so glad that you're here again. Welcome to my live, everybody. You know, guys, these videos are like public, so you guys can comment on it. Nathaniel, all right, Nathaniel, for your brother. Here you going for Nathaniel. All right, who's gonna be next, everybody? Get your glowing neon names done, everybody. Welcome to my live. We are doing glowing neon names for everybody. So let's go, guys. All right. Who's going to be next, everybody? Hit that subscribe button. Let's go, guys. Thank you so much, Nathaniel. Who is next, everybody? Get your glowing names done. Esther in the chat. How are you, dear Esther? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Let's go. All right, Scarlett here. How are you, Scarlett, in the chat? Let's go, Scarlett. All right, who do we have next, guys? Vanessa in the chat. How are you, dear Vanessa? I hope you're having a great day today. All right, who's after Vanessa, guys? Drop in your names. Hit that subscribe button. Mia in the chat, guys. How are you, dear Mia? Here you go. Your neon name's done. Next we've got is Florence in the chat. How are you, dear Florence? Thank you so much. Everybody hit the like button, subscribe, and get your names done. Sarah in the chat. Thank you, Sarah. All right, who do we have next, everybody? All right, Jacob liked and subscribed. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Who has liked and subscribed both? Let me check. All right, then we've got Zeph in the chat. Thank you, Zeph, for liking and subscribing. Thank you so much. Next subscriber, we've got Claire in the chat. How are you, dear Claire? You got your name done. Next subscriber name we have is Riley in the chat. Thank you, Riley. All right, who's next, everybody? Then we've got is Hamis in the chat. How are you, dear Hamis? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Who else liked and subscribed? Let's go. All right, then we've got is Mimi in the chat. How are you, dear Mimi? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next subscriber is Blaine in the chat. Thank you, Blaine, for liking and subscribing. Your name is done. Next subscriber, Janet. Welcome back. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Let's go. Then we got Nia. Thank you. Let's go, Nia. Everybody hit that subscribe button. Drop your names and get your names done, guys. Fatima. Thank you. All right, who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. Shanayla, thank you, Shanayla. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, who else is there, guys? Maddie in the chat. How are you, Maddie? Let's go, guys. Everybody get your names done, guys. Aliana, how are you, Aliana? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Let's go. Oliver in the chat. How are you, Oliver? Let's go, guys. Everybody hit that like button, guys, and subscribe. Rebecca has liked and subscribed. Thank you, Rebecca. Who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. All right, then we've got Josh who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Josh, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next, we've got Declan in the chat. How are you, Declan? Here you go. Welcome to my live. Let's go, everybody. Then we've got is Cindy. Let's go, Cindy. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Then we've got is Jake. Thank you, Jake, for liking and subscribing to me. Next we have is George. Thank you, George. Let's go, everybody. Come on, everybody. Hit that like button. Let's go, Shanoya. Thank you, Shanoya. Welcome to my live, Shanoa. Thank you. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Kimberly, how are you, dear Kimberly? You got your name done, Kimberly. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Drop your names, guys, and get your glowing names done, guys. Then we've got Carly. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. Kumo. Thank you, Kumo, for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, next name, guys. Let's go, guys. Amelia in the chat. Thank you, Amelia. Let's go, Amelia. Let's go. All right, next subscriber is Olivia. How are you, dear Olivia? You got your glowing name done already. Thank you for liking and subscribing, Ronaldo. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Who else liked and subscribed, guys? Let's see, guys. Then we've got Eric who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Eric. Let's go, Eric. Next subscriber is JD in chat. All right, JD, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, next subscriber, Anthony in the chat. How are you, dear Anthony? You got your name. All right, who is next, everybody? Then we've got is Camilla who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Camilla, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Who else liked and subscribed? Ayat. Thank you, Ayat, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Next subscriber is Lauren. Let's go, Lauren. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Then we've got is Reina in the chat. Thank you, Reina, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Leonie in the chat. Leonie, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Then we got Harley. Thank you, Harley. Hey, go Harley. Let's get to the next page, everybody. Just give me a moment. Everybody like and subscribe and let's go. Let's start the live, guys. All right. The page is almost ready, guys. All right, let's begin, everybody. Who's going to be next? Brooklyn in the chat. Thank you, Brooklyn, for liking and subscribing. Thank you. All right, who else liked and subscribed? Sahil in the chat. Thank you, Sahil, for liking and subscribing. You got your name done. Next subscriber we've got is Millie in the chat. Thank you, Millie. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Who else is liked and subscribed? Then we've got Michaeli. Thank you, Michaeli, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. All right, next subscriber, Remy in the chat. Thank you, Remy. Let's go, Sky. Welcome to my live. All right. Then we have Alexis in the chat. Thank you, Alexis, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Stephanie liked and subscribed. All right, who else liked and subscribed? Everybody like and subscribe for a name, guys. Then we've got is, who has liked and subscribed? Simon just liked and subscribed, guys. Let's go, Simon. Let's go. Parker, welcome in. Thank you so much, Parker, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Then we've got is Harper in the chat. How are you, dear Harper? Let's go. All right, next subscriber we've got is Nihal. Thank you, Nihal, for liking and subscribing. Let's go. Welcome to my live. Aylin in the chat. How are you, dear Aylin? You got your glowing neon name done. Next subscriber is Zara. How are you, dear Zara? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Then we've got Tilhogi. How are you, Tilhogi? All right, is that Tilhogi? All right, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Emmy in the chat. How are you, dear Emmy? Let's go, Emmy. All right, next name, everybody. Then we have next is Kanishka. How are you, dear Kanishka? That's a different name. Where are you watching from? All right, next subscriber we've got is Carly in the chat. Thank you, Carly, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next we have is, who's that? That's Sharky. Oh, that's a different name, Sharky. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Next subscriber is Marth in the chat. Thank you, Marth, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next subscriber name you've got is Mary in the chat. Thank you, Mary, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next subscriber we've got is Jason. Let's go, Jason. Thank you so much for liking and subscriing, dear. Let's go. Then we got Bintu in the chat. How are you, dear Bintu? Thank you. Let's go, everybody. Then we've got is Elif in the chat. Thank you, Elif, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Then we've got is Ariana. Let's go, Ariana. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next, who is next? Everybody, let's go. Then we have is Juliet. Thank you so much, Juliet, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Here you go. Your beautiful name has been done. Then we've got Lavender in the chat. Thank you, Lavender, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Who else has liked and subscribed? Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. Let's go, Tyler. All right, who's next, guys? Mia in the chat. Thank you, Mia, for liking and subscribing. And let's go, everybody. Then we've got is Saliham. Thank you, Saliham, for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, who's going to be next, guys? Everybody, Let's go, guys. Then we've got is Callie in the chat. How are you, dear Callie? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Alexander, how are you, Alexander? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, who's got next, guys? Then we've got Esme. You got your glowing name done, Esme. All right, who's next, everybody? Tony. Thank you, Tony, for being back to my live. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Then we have is Melk in the chat. How are you, Melk? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Then we've got is, who's that? Who's that? All right, that's Mitraji. How are you, Mitraji? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, next name we've got is JD in the chat. How are you, dear JD? Let's go. You got your glowing neon name done. Then we've got is Evie in the chat. How are you, dear Evie? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber is Ashante. Welcome back. I'm so glad to see you once again. All right, Ashante. Then we've got is Naomi in the chat. How are you, Naomi? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Then we have is Ibi in the chat. How are you, dear Ibi? Let's go. Then we have is Charlotte. How are you, dear Charlotte? Here you go. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel, Charlotte. Then we've got Larry in the chat. How are you, dear Larry? Welcome back to my live. All right, next page, everybody. Let's go, everybody. Get your names done today, guys. All right, the page is ready, guys. Let's go, everybody. Then we've got Logan in the chat. How are you, dear Logan? Here you go, Logan. You got your name first. Next subscriber, who do we have, guys? Alexis, thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Alexis. Let's go, everybody. Who's going to be next, everybody? Stewie, how are you, Stewie? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next name we've got is Mark in the chat. Thank you, Mark, for liking and subscribing. Next name we've got is, who's that? Adina. How are you, dear Adina? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. NASA in the chat, everybody. See, we've got NASA in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, NASA. Next name we've got is Safi. How are you, dear Safi? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. You got your glowing neon name done. Next subscriber to be Atana. How are you, dear Atana? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Next we have is Tilak in the chat. How are you, Tilak? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next name is, who's that? Zava in the chat. How are you, Zava? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next name we've got is Izhan in the chat. Thank you, Izhan, for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber name is Millie. Let's go, Millie. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. All right. Next we've got is Evelyn. How are you, Evelyn? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Evelyn. Let's go. Then we've got Laura in the chat. Thank you, Laura, for liking and subscribing. Who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. That is Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed, for liking and subscribing. Here you go, Mohammed. All right, who's next, guys? Then we got Lucy. Let's go, Lucy. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. All right, who else has liked and subscribed, guys? Let's see, guys. Then we've got is Felicia in the chat. Let's go, Felicia. How are you doing today, Felicia? There you go. Your beautiful name has been done. Then we've got Sally, whose name has been done. Sally, thank you. Next we've got is Cleona. How are you, Cleona? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel, Cleona. Next we have is Asia. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Let's go, Asia. All right, who else has liked and subscribed? Kiki, thank you. Thank you for liking and subscribing. It really means a lot to me. Next, I've got Elena in the chat. How are you, Elena? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Ethan is in the chat, guys. See, guys, Ethan in the chat. Everybody, let's go. Next subscriber, we've got Dahlia in the chat. Thank you, Dahlia, for liking and subscribing. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Then we've got Karima. How are you, Karima? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Let's go. Crystal is in the chat, guys. Thank you, Crystal, for liking and subscribing. Let's go for Crystal. Who else has liked and subscribed? Amy. Let's go, Amy. Thank you. All right, then we've got is Abby. Thank you, Abby, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Hey, go, Abby. Next subscriber we've got is Armandus. How are you, Armandus? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. All right, who do we have next, everybody? Then we've got is Albie. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Albie. Let's go, guys. Then we've got is, who's that? Yari. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Yari. All right, next name we've got is Abigail, how are you, Abigail, for liking and subscribing? Thank you. All right, let's go, everybody. Next name, guys. Then we have is Peyton in the chat. Thank you, Peyton, for liking and subscribing. Here you go. Your name has been done. Next subscriber is Marcus in the chat. Thank you, Marcus, for liking and subscribing. Here you go. Your beautiful name has been done. Then we've got Anna in the chat. Let's go for Anna. Next subscriber we've got is Tony. How are you, dear Tony? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next we've got Quinn. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Who else has liked and subscribed? All right, that is Vinudi. Thank you, Vinudi, for liking and subscribing. It really means a lot to me. All right, next name. Then we've got Natalia. How are you, Natalia? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Natalia. It really means a lot to me. Appreciate you, Natalia. Then we've got is Moven in the chat. Thank you, Moven, for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Moxon in the chat. Thank you, Moxon, for liking and subscribing. Next name we've got is Annalise. How are you, dear Annalise? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. You got your glowing name done. Next subscriber, we've got Ruben in the chat. Thank you, Ruben, for liking and subscribing. All right, then we've got is Joseph. How are you, Joseph? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel, Joseph. Really appreciate you for doing that. Next we have is Freddie in the chat. How are you, dear Freddie? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel, Freddie. Then we have is Ashley. How are you, Ashley? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next we've got is King. Thank you, King, for liking and subscribing. Next name we've got is Bilal. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Let's get to the next page, everybody. All right, here's the page, guys. So let's go, guys. Caleb in the chat. How are you, dear Caleb? All right, Caleb. Here you go, Caleb. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. You got your name here. All right, next name we've got Rihanna in the chat. How are you, dear Rihanna? Here you go, Rihanna. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Then we have is Logan in the chat. How are you, dear Logan? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next subscriber, we've got Chloe in the chat. Thank you, Chloe, for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber, we've got Luke in the chat. How are you, dear Luke? Let's go, Luke. Welcome to my live. Next, we've got Harriet in the chat. How are you, dear Harriet? Let's go for Harriet here. Who is next, everybody? Then we've got is Mario in the chat. Thank you, Mario, for liking and subscribing. All right, who else has liked and subscribed? We have is Richie. Thank you, Richie. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. All right, who's next, everybody? Then we've got Kona in the chat. Thank you, Kona, for liking and subscribing. All right, who's next, guys? Then we've got is Ashton in the chat. Thank you, Ashton, for liking and subscribing. You got your glowing neon name done. Then we have is Ethan in the chat. How are you, dear Ethan? Here you go, Ethan. Then we have is Lily in the chat. Hey, here you go, Lily. Next subscriber we've got is Victoria in the chat. Let's go, Victoria. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Then we've got Nelly in the chat. How are you, dear Nelly? Let's go, Nelly. Come on, everybody. Hit the subscribe button. Lewis in the chat. Thank you, Lewis, for liking and subscribing. Let's go, guys. Then we've got Maria in the chat. How are you, dear Maria? You got your glowing name done. Let's go, everybody. Then we've got Millie in the chat. How are you, dear Millie? You got your glowing neon name done, Millie. All right. Everybody hit that like and subscribe button. Anthony is there in the chat, guys. Here you go, Anthony. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Let's go. Then we've got Dio in the chat. Thank you, Dio, for liking and subscribing to me. All right. Then we've got is Evelyn. Let's go, Evelyn. Thank you so much. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Then we've got Andrew. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Let's go, Andrew. Welcome to my live. Next, we've got Amaya in the chat. Let's go, Amaya. Welcome to my live. All right. Who's next, everybody? Next, we've got Riley. Your name is done, Riley. Let's go, everybody. Everybody hit that like button and subscribe. Isabella in the chat. Thank you, Isabella, for liking and subscribing. And then we've got Laya in the chat. How are you, dear Laya? Next we have is Jaslyn. Let's go, Jaslyn. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next subscriber is Liam in the chat. Thank you, Liam, for liking and subscribing. All right, then who is the next subscriber? Adam. Thank you, Adam, for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber, we've got Gabriella in the chat. Thank you, Gabriella, for liking and subscribing. You got your glowing name done. Then we have is Lucas. Thank you, Lucas, for liking and subscribing. Here you go, Lucas. Next subscriber is Karina. How are you, dear Karina? Here you go, Karina. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Ava in the chat. How are you, dear Ava? Here you go, Ava. All right, next, everybody. Come on. All right, next we have is Sky in the chat. Thank you, Sky, for liking and subscribing. Next name we've got is Iman. Thank you, Iman, for liking and subscribing. Who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. Yusra, thank you, Yusra, for liking and subscribing. Thank you. Really appreciate you, Yusra. Then we have is Sahara, who liked and subscribed. Hey, go Sahara. Next, who has liked and subscribed? I need to see. Hazel, thank you, Hazel. Here you go, Hazel. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Charlie has liked and subscribed to us. Here you go, Charlie. All right, next we've got is Jazly, who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Jazly. Thank you so much. All right, who's going to be next, guys? Fatima, who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Fatima. All right, who's going to be next, everybody? Who has liked and subscribed? Freedom, thank you, Freedom, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Here you go, Freedom. Then we've got is Maya. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel, Maya. Next subscriber we have is Kaylee. Thank you, Kaylee, for liking and subscribing. Here you go. Next subscriber name we have is Lydia. Thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel, Lydia. Let's go, everybody. Then we have is Angelina. How are you, dear Angelina? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. All right, next thing we have is Piper in the chat. Thank you, Piper, for liking and subscribing. All right, let's get to the next page. All right, let's go, guys. Just give me a second. I'm just making some hearts. All right, let's begin, guys. All right, next we have is Harper in the chat. How are you, dear Harper? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. You got your beautiful name done. All right, now we have is Gili in the chat. How are you, Gili? Here you go, Gili. You got your name done. Then we have is Freya. Thank you for liking and subscribing, Freya. Who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. We have Seren. How are you, Seren? You got your beautiful neon name done, Seren. Here you go. Next subscriber we have is Jax. Thank you. Here you go, Jax. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber we have is Kai. Here you go, Sky. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Then we have is Sienna. How are you, dear Sienna? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Sienna. All right. Next name we have is Cash in the chat. How are you, dear Cash? All right. Who's next, guys? Then we have is Maria. How are you, dear Maria? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Who else has liked and subscribed? Let me see. Kayla, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel, Kayla. Thank you. Next subscriber name is Anya, who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Anya. Welcome to my live, Anya. All right. Who's going to be next, guys? Then we've got is Osman. Here you go, Osman. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next name we've got is Ali Dan. Here you go, Ali Dan. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next name we have is Anais. How are you, Anais? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Next name we have is Ava. How are you, dear Ava? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. All right, let's get to the next line, everybody. Then we have is Miranda, who just liked and subscribed. Thank you, Miranda. Who else has liked and subscribed? I need to see. All right. Then we have is Casper. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Here you go, Casper. Next we have is Marley. Thank you so much, Marley, for liking and subscribing. Here you go. All right, next name we have is JF. Thank you, JF, for liking and subscribing. Next we've got is Ali. Thank you, Ali, for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber name is Maddie. Thank you, Maddie, for liking and subscribing. Really means a lot to me. Next subscriber we have is Sarah in the chat. Thank you, Sarah, for liking and subscribing. Who else has liked and subscribed? That is Heaven. Thank you so much, Heaven, for liking and subscribing, Heaven. Here you go. Next subscriber we have is Logan. Thank you, Logan, for liking and subscribing to me. Next subscriber, we've got Angel in the chat. How are you, dear Angel? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next subscriber we have is Mary. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, next subscriber, who's that? Chloe. Let's go, Chloe. Thank you so much. There you go, Chloe. Next, we've got Susan. Thank you, Susan. Welcome to my live. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next, we've got is Nylia. How are you, Nylia? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. You got your name done. All right, let's go, guys. Oh my God, this ink is so like wet right now. All right, then we've got is Ella in the chat. Thank you, Ella, for liking and subscribing. You got your name done, Ella. Next we have is Aubrey. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Aubrey. You got your name done. All right, who's going to be next, guys? Who has liked and subscribed? Hasna in the chat. Thank you, Hasna, for liking and subscribing. Next we've got is Maritza. Thank you, Maritza, for liking and subscribing. Here you go. All right, who's next, guys? Then we have is Mustafa. How are you, Mustafa? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next we have is Oscar, who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Oscar. Here you go. Next subscriber we have is Piper in the chat. Thank you, Piper. All right, who's next, guys? And we have is Bradley. Thank you, Bradley. Next subscriber, who's the next subscriber? Let me see. That is Linnea, who liked and subscribed. Thank you, Linnea. Here you go, Linnea. All right, next subscriber we have is Zaria. Thank you, Zaria. Here you go. Next subscriber we've got is Jaden. Thank you, Jaden, for liking and subscribing. Your name has been done. Next name we've got is, who is that? Verda. Thank you, Verda. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Next name we have is, who is that? Skyland. All right. Okay, guys, now I would be taking a break. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'll be live in like 45 minutes. Take care of yourself. Bye.